Most people think of a Ford Ranger as an economy truck priced around the $30,000 bracket, and there are a lot of them out there just like that. But I'm more interested in this new Raptor version, so I called Ford and said, hey, can you send me one? And they said, sure. And here it is in the warehouse ready for shipment. Looks just like the ones Ford was using in their advertising. Maybe it's the same one. It might be. This one's not for sale. Factory demo only. No information. Not even EPA rating. Guess we'll have to try to get some more paperwork and come back to you. Alright, they sent the price sheet. This is what we're starting out at. Let's see the options. Well, I can use the bed liner. Don't think I need the other two things, but they're going to make you buy it anyway. The bed liner's worth $495. 60 grand for a Ranger. Wow. So here it is in the flesh, so to speak. We'll have to do this in the shade because it's 115 degrees outside in the sun and I don't want to get melted. One of the first things we do when we get a vehicle is check and see what type of tires they're giving us, because a lot of manufacturers are putting cheap junkers on, but these are nice BF Goodrich off-roaders, 33 inches. No complaints here. We also check to see if there's a spare tire. Yeah, it's under there, but I'm not going to crawl underneath to show you it's too hot. It's there. Trust me. And third thing we do is take the headlights out in the dark and do the performance test in a night drive. We already did that. Did that separate video on YouTube. It's posted already. If you want a link for that, we'll have a link for that at the end of this video. So you can watch 2 videos for the price of 1, free. Just some trivia. The Ford Ranger can tow it to 7,500 pounds normally if you max it out good, but this one's 5,500 pounds. I think most people are taking this off-road more than towing, but you never know. So what are we getting on the Raptor package? It justifies all this money. Well, you got Fox shocks, very expensive shocks, beef suspension, big wheels and tires, front and rear locking differentials, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive high, 4-wheel drive low, and 4-wheel drive automatic for the pavement. That's a nice feature to have. A beef 10-speed automatic. Raptor decal on the steering wheel so you won't forget what you're driving. A performance emblem on the rocker panels so you won't forget what you're driving. Raptor decal on the bodywork so your neighbors will know what you're driving. These running boards on the side so you can step into the vehicle. I have mixed emotions about these, but you can always take them off if you don't like them. What you're really paying for is under the hood. A 3.0 liter V6 putting out 405 horsepower, torque rating of 430. If you ever wanted to know what a V8 would be like in a Ford Ranger, this might give you the experience. A bit better though, because this puts out more horsepower, more torque than your typical V8 in a smaller package. It's a lot lighter. And better fuel economy, 1618 MPG rated. It's basically the same setup you find in the Bronco Raptor, which is $35,000 more, making this the better deal. We'll talk about that later. Hey, another Ford Performance emblem. Now for the record, before we continue, I have to tell you I've driven almost every EcoBoost engine out there, and in general I'm not a fan. If it's 4 cylinders or less, I'm not a fan anyway. The V6s, on the other hand, are impressive. The 2.7 is really one of the better engines out there. Torque of a V8, great fuel economy, smooth and quiet. The 3.0 modification is even better. The reliability of the 2.7 is pretty good. 3.0, haven't heard any complaints yet. If properly maintained, keep the oil changed, the coolant changed. These are pretty good engines, I think. I'm not going to cover the infotainment system. We've been here all day. Half-hour video. I'll just say I'm a very simple person. I'm driving. I want a steering wheel, a brake, a shifter. I don't need all this stuff. Set the tire pressure, the software licenses, and that's just one program. Go here. Windows, wipers, lighting, locks, mirrors, all the stuff you program in here. Unbelievable. After about 3 or 4 days, you can learn all this, but my only concern is when this gets out of warranty, racks up some miles, anything goes wrong in this system, Lots of luck fixing it. More likely you have to replace it, and it's not cheap. But wait, there's more! All your vehicle settings for off-roading, shocks, and things like that, that's done on the gauge cluster. Another half hour of learning. Alright, show and tell's over. Let's take this out and do some driving. And we're all set up because we're already in the outdoors on some very nasty roads. I'm told the Fox shocks on this vehicle cost about as much as the engine. I don't know if that's true, but they're definitely worth the money. This is definitely the smoothest riding truck I've ever driven on a road like this. They're definitely worth the money. On the Standard Ranger or any other conventional truck, I'd be doing about 5 to 10 miles per hour maximum, where the truck will be rattling apart. Here I'm doing like 20 to 30 miles per hour. Bouncing around a bit, but in total comfort. No complaining. Very, very nice. I'm in the normal mode, by the way, not the sport. We'll try that later. If you hear any rattling, it's not the truck rattling, it's the toolbox I've got in the back. Very solid body, no creaks or rattles or groans. Just a note with these knobby type tires and the loose gravel, it's hard to get decent traction when taking corners. You don't want to end up down there. I'm not going to put it in real four-wheel drive. I'm going to put it in four-wheel drive automatic. That should keep the tail from spinning out. Worked this far. I've had experience with this engine before. I can tell you it's 5-star all the way. All the horsepower and torque you ever need. Smooth and quiet. Well, the engine itself is quiet. The exhaust sound coming out the rear sounds more like a UPS truck or vacuum cleaner. You can't blame the engine for that, though. Absolutely, definitely a very nice motor. One of the best in the Ford inventory. I just put the dampers in the sport mode. And the ride is definitely a lot stiffer, that's for sure. And not as smooth. I think the stiffer system is designed to protect the vehicle more than it is the driver for the comfort level. If you're going to race the Baja 500, I guess the sport mode would be okay, but for what we're doing here, I think we're going to have to go back in the normal mode. I almost forgot, in addition to the normal and sport setting, there's an off-road mode, which I just engaged, and we're back to being comfortable again. Maybe the normal and sport are intended for pavement. Make a comment in the comment section if you have a bit more experience with this than we have in our 1-week drive. I like this off-road mode. I think I'm going to leave it on that for the time being. I see the camera system is active when you're driving off-road, if you want it to be. Interesting. Oh! Quite a view from up here. And been on this road for a couple hours. Total comfort, no fatigue. Can do this in many other off-road vehicles, I'll tell you that. And yeah, I've done this road in a Jeep Wrangler and it was no fun. Beat the living snot out of me. Unless I had the Rubicon with big tires, then maybe you're okay, but still not as good as this. Sorry, Jeep guys. As you can see, we got lots and lots of ground clearance to do the job. Good traction too. I haven't even had to put it in four-wheel drive yet. Just four-wheel drive automatic. This is why a narrow truck is better than the big full-size monsters, because we have rocks that fell down, like happened recently. Makes for a very, very tight squeeze. It'd be a shame to drive way up here for 4 hours, only to find out you can't make it 10 minutes to the top because the road is blocked. You got to turn back. Going on now 4 hours and going strong. This is definitely a thumbs up truck for off-roading 5 stars all the way. One pet peeve is the gauge cluster reflection you get on certain times of day because of this plastic cover. This is a big problem with Lexus and Toyotas too, for some reason. Well, the Raptor is excellent for off-roading. It does pretty good on the pavement too. The ride is very comfortable. There is a bunch of bouncing around because of the stiff shocks and big tires, of course, but all the impacts, like potholes, you don't feel any of that. It's still smooth and quiet. Also, you've got an excellent driving position. You can see everything around you. And this engine is very, very strong. A lot of passing ability and climbing steep hills. Of course, when it comes to fuel economy, this isn't exactly a gas sipper. When you're putting gas in here, they claim 16 to 18 mpg, and that's pretty much what I got. Fairly accurate. On one trip, we did around 50% city and 50% off-roading. From the off-road trip you saw, the worst was 13.9. That's pretty darn good. Of course, let's face it, if you can afford the price of the truck, the insurance, depreciation, the upkeep, I don't think fuel economy is really going to fit in your plans too much. I don't think it's going to be a concern. And it's been my experience, a lot of people buy these type of vehicles. It's a second vehicle. They have a primary vehicle, like a car, to drive every day. That brings us to the price tag. You know, 60 grand is really not that much. Have you priced other trucks lately? Or soccer mom SUVs, loaded with all that luxury fluff, earning 50 to 70 grand? You're not getting much there. Here you're getting real meat and potatoes, a strong engine, excellent suspension, stuff you can actually use. I think this is a far better value myself for the money. And when making the comparison to this and the full-size Ford F-150 Raptor, well, obviously the bigger truck can haul more people, tow more. Aside from that, I think this is a better vehicle. In fact, off-road it's better because you can fit in narrow trails the big trucks can't. With this Ranger Raptor, I can get on the trail. With the Ford F-150 Raptor, I just have to mow down a bunch of bushes and trees to get there, and then Ford gets a little upset because the paint got all scratched up. Better off with this one for me. And even though I was impressed with the Bronco Raptor, this is like 35 grand cheaper, and I have a bed to put all the nasty gas cans and firewood in. Can't do that in a Bronco. I usually don't rate vehicles 10 out of 10, but we're getting pretty close with this one. A very, very impressive machine. One of the best ones Ford's ever done. Now, if you come this far in the video, you might as well watch our headlight test and night drive video. And here's a link for that coming up. Click and watch. And subscribe. I need the gas money.